What up, guys? Carolina Jackpot coming at you Saturday morning. We're about 45 minutes away from kickoff of the noon games. There has not been a bigger slate, more excitement around the college football game this year as what we've got going on today. Great games from start to finish. Some that are going to have conference, at least divisional race implications. If not conference title implications, they're going to have playoff poll implications. And I, for one, am looking forward to this. Remember, today at 3:30 p.m., please tune into the Carolina Jackpot channel. We are live streaming the Tennessee-Alabama game. South Carolina is on an off week this week, so Carolina Jackpot decided to live stream this one. So we have so many Tennessee Vol fans who have been a part of this channel, and I think it would be cool to live stream their game. Carolina Jackpot certainly going to be in the corner of the Tennessee Vols today. Hopefully they can pull out this big win in Knoxville. But let's look at some other games today against the spread, and I'll give you my thoughts on some of these key matchups as we run down the card here, pretty much in chronological order. We got Vanderbilt and Georgia at noon. Or no, we got that one at 3:30. Excuse me, this one popped up first because I follow both teams on CBS Sports just because we play both of them. Georgia's laying 37.5 at home against Vanderbilt. I actually like Vandy to cover in this spot. Georgia has dominated Vanderbilt in years past. For the most part, they've blown Vanderbilt out and covered the numbers against them. However, today I come in, I kind of see this as a little bit of a flat spot for Georgia. Last week, they actually did what they're supposed to do, right? They got a 32-point win, a cover against Auburn at home, but they're heading into a bye week. And then, of course, we'll have the big game in Jacksonville that next weekend against Florida. I do believe I'm right on that. So I see this as a flat spot for Georgia. They say Stetson Bennett's banged up. They got some wide receivers banged up. So I see Kirby Smart maybe resting some of these guys, giving them a little bit of extra time to get ready for this one. Vanderbilt's obviously not going to be a tough opponent. Can't really match up with Georgia talent-wise, nor scheme-wise, nor wise of any way. It's just not going to be competitive. But I do think that maybe we see a backdoor cover, or maybe we see Georgia just play flat all day long and win this game by like 21. But give me the Commodores and Clark Lee's team in this one. We do have Alabama going on the road to play at Tennessee. I'm going to save that one for the end. Penn State at Michigan. This is a noon game over on Fox. Michigan laying 7 at home. This one comes down to, I think, two undefeated teams, two things. And this is why I don't want to. I really like Penn State. In fact, it's my second favorite team behind the Gamecocks. I also like Rutgers too. Now, and apparently Tennessee. Home field advantage in the big house is huge, and quarterback play. I just think Sean Clifford for Penn State, I just think he's an average-ass quarterback. I mean, the guy's just not that good. Michigan, and you could also sit here and say, well, Penn State going to have the advantage running back wise, and they didn't. Nick Singleton, true freshman, has rushed for like 500 and something yards. But hey, on the flip side, Blake Corum for Michigan has rushed for over 700 yards, just absolutely pounding the hell out of the rock this year. Penn State's played some games that have been a little bit too close against some mediocre competition also. I just think that home field advantage and that Michigan quarterback play is going to be a little bit too much, and I like them to cover at home against Penn State. Give me the maize and blue, maybe by about 10 points there. Michigan going on the road to Illinois. Illinois is a 4.5-point underdog. They're ranked. Their quarterback, Tommy DeVito's not playing. Look, I mean, I don't think Tommy DeVito is, really your bread and butter anyway. I mean, it's your running back game, right? With Chase Brown and that. However, I think Minnesota is a little bit better of a team. It's been a nice ride so far for Illinois. They're 5-1. But, this to me looks like a 7-5, 8-4 type team. Not anything better than that. Minnesota kind of fell out of the rankings after that upset loss to Purdue. But Purdue upsets somebody every year. It seems like Purdue is, bounces around, and they'll pull an upset one week, and then the next week they'll pull a Purdue and lose as a favorite. So I don't put a whole lot into that. Go on ahead and give me Golden Gophers to cover on the road here against Illinois. Kansas at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's favored by 10. This line keeps going the other way. I'm sorry, Jalen Daniels playing or not, I can't lay points with Oklahoma right now. They have not looked good all year long, really. And last week was just an absolute abysmal performance. You know, that their quarterback is out. And granted, so is Kansas's, but the drop-off I don't think is that far from Bean, or from Jalen Daniels to Bean, who'll be the starting quarterback today, as it is for Oklahoma, from Dylan Gabriel to whoever the hell their backup quarterback is. So I'm going to go on ahead here and mess around. I'm going to take Kansas to cover this number. They've been covering them for over a year, and I don't see any reason why they shouldn't. Bean almost led them to a victory last year at home in this game. If you'll remember, they were winning going into the fourth quarter, and then Oklahoma just has a much better Oklahoma team actually took over there. Auburn on the road at Ole Miss. Ole Miss is 15.5-point favorite. I'm going to go on ahead and take the home team, Ole Miss. We know Lane Kiffin, right? We know the guy. He's that quirky son of a bitch, right? Yeah. Now, I really don't like him all that much, but the fact of the matter is the guy actually knows what the point spreads in the games are. That was evident last week in the game against Vanderbilt when he decided to punch it in for absolutely no reason at all, and then he had to go for 2. I'm going to go on ahead and take Ole Miss, though, to cover. Auburn is absolutely awful. Iowa State at Texas. Texas 15.5-point favorite at home. Coming off the big blowout win over Oklahoma. Now they take on a sleepy, decent Iowa State team, a good defensive team, horrible offensive team. That can muddy a game up. And you got Oklahoma State on deck next week if you're a Texas man. So this is a classic flat spot for me. A noon, 11 a.m. kickoff. I like Iowa State to cover this in this one. I think that they'll muddy it up. I feel very confident that Texas will win. There's just a better team, superior talent there with home field advantage. But I like Iowa State in this matchup to keep that one a little bit too close for comfort. Got Miami going on the road at Virginia Tech. It's a 12:30 game in Lane Stadium. Miami is laying 8 on the road against whatever happened to when Virginia Tech used to be a tough place to play. Whatever happened to that? Well, I tell you when it was when Coach Frank Beamer started kind of fading away a little bit. That's when they started not getting too good. And you know, the ACC kind of shifted. You know, Florida State kind of claimed dominance there in that league, and that, well, they didn't play. Well, I don't know Florida State. I don't know what I'm talking about. They're just not good anymore. Things happen, right? They're 8-point underdogs against Miami at home. I actually like Miami to cover in this matchup. Looking at quarterback play, there is no comparison there for Tyler Van Dink. Despite the fact that they lost last week, he put up over 500 yards of offense against North Carolina. And, you know, Virginia Tech has just been an absolute wet fart all year. I questioned that Brent Pry hire. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. It felt like, why are we're hiring a defensive coordinator from Penn State. Well, I mean, I like Penn State, don't get me wrong, but it just didn't. And he's a Virginia Tech guy, but it just, to me, it doesn't seem like a right fit in this day and age. All the teams in the ACC Coastal, right, that play offensive football, like Miami, like UNC, those teams, like Pitt, kind of, to a degree, right? And other teams in the ACC that play offensive, Louisville. It seems like you would also go out and get an offensive-minded head coach as well to help keep you competitive in that conference, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Here's a sleepy, weird one. Cal on the road at Colorado. Colorado is a 15-point underdog at home. I actually sprinkled something on the money line here with Colorado, and if they actually can pull it off, it'll catch up very nicely for me. I just think that, Colorado's 0-5 right now. To me, I don't think they finish 0-12. I don't think they finish 0-12, and you look at the rest of their schedule, there's really not another opportunity for a win. There's just not. unless it's a major upset. And to me, this would be a minor upset. It wouldn't be a major upset, knocking off Cal at home. So I went with the Buffaloes, Ralphie and the boys, to cover the spread here. I think they might win this thing outright. Maryland on the road at Indiana. Indiana, 11-point underdog at home. Kind of scared to lay doubles with Maryland on the road, but if I had to look either side, that's who I would look towards, as Indiana's not good. NC State on the road at Syracuse. Syracuse is a 3-point home favorite against the 5-1 Wolfpack. The 5-0 Syracuse team, they got to lose at some point in time also. However, I think when they actually lose for the first time this season is going to be when they play Clemson, unfortunately, at Clemson. There's no way they're winning that game. And so to have any hopes of winning the ACC Atlantic, they know they got to have this game, because I think they know they're not beating Clemson. And then they have to pray to Clemson to lose one, and they get some kind of tiebreaker or something. It's not too early to start thinking about that kind of stuff. Go on ahead, give me Syracuse to cover here. I think they pull off, well, it wouldn't be an upset. I think they win this game against NC State. The NC State's beat up. Devin Leary's not playing in this game. And it just seems right for me. It's going to be a raucous environment, a 3:30 kick over there on the ACC network. Doesn't get any bigger than that. You got Oklahoma State going on the road to TCU. TCU is now favored by 5. Seems like a bit much between two undefeated teams with similar skill sets. Oklahoma State may have the advantage at quarterback play. TCU may have the advantage at team speed. Defenses seem to be about equal to me. I'll take Oklahoma State to cover at a 5-point line. We got Arkansas taking on BYU. This is a road game for Arkansas. It's 3:30. BYU is actually a 1-point favorite. KJ Jefferson should be playing in this game. I'm going to go on ahead and take Arkansas to cover in this game. And, we saw some flashes from them earlier in the season. I still think an SEC team, especially an SEC West team with some power capabilities, with a good line of scrimmage, I think can go on the road in this environment and maybe have their way a little bit with BYU. So I'm going to go on ahead, take Arkansas to cover that game there. Got a lot of muddy middle games here that really nobody cares about. Wisconsin going on the road, taking on Michigan State. Wisconsin is a 7-point favorite on the road. To me, that's too many points on the road. Wisconsin hasn't looked good this year. Give me Michigan State. Give me Sparty to cover there. Tulane on the road at South Florida. South Florida is catching 12 at home. Go on ahead, give me Tulane to cover that one. Now South Florida played a really good game last week, a heartbreaker against Cincinnati that they ultimately lost. But we've seen them do this before this year. Played really well against Florida. They had a heartbreaker against the Gators earlier in the season, and then turned around and got blown out the next week. Here, I think they come out flat and get blown out again. We got actually ranked James Madison team going on the road, taking on Georgia Southern. Maybe it's a little bit too much too soon for James Madison to be ranked first year in FBS. Go ahead and mess around and take Georgia Southern to cover there. I don't think they win, but I think they'll cover. Keep it close. Arizona on the road at Washington. Washington 14.5-point favorite. I lean Washington here. Arizona cashed a lot of tickets for a lot of people last year. They just fight in games and keep them close, even though they weren't winning. Well, I mean, now, the market has kind of caught up to that a little bit. And Arizona's just not, they're actually 3-3 right now. At 3-3, they're a bad football team. I hesitate to lay points with a bad team on the road. LSU on the road at Florida. Florida is a 2-point home favorite. I don't have anything other to gauge this game on, and I know this is really not how you're supposed to map out games. But I look at how they both played against Tennessee. Florida went on the road. They lost to Tennessee. Covered the spread, though. Played pretty well for the most part, especially in the first half. Tennessee offensively was just way too much for Florida. Same thing happened to LSU, but LSU also shot themselves in the foot. But the thing is, that was a home game for LSU. That was a home game. They came out, had that kind of performance. Just seems like something's lacking there. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know. I don't think it's a talent issue. LSU seems to have still a talented roster. I mean, looking at the 24/7 Sports Composite, still ranked up there pretty highly. So I'm really not quite sure what's going on. Maybe it's just, I think Brian Kelly's a good coach. Maybe it's just taking a while to get adjusted there. But nonetheless, I think Florida covers this game at home against LSU. It's a battle of two teams that really just aren't very good. And Florida will be looking to a bye week next week. They always have a bye week before the game against Georgia in Jacksonville. So let me have me some Florida Gators to cover against LSU this evening. Clemson going on the road, and it looks like the place that I want to come. Oh, it is open. All right, Clemson going on the road, taking on Florida State. Florida State's actually a 4.5-point underdog at home. A lot of people are wondering about that, think it's kind of a short line. I don't know. I kind of like Florida State in this matchup. I think it's their last shot at a really big game this year, a big win, and I think they cover against Clemson. I think that, Clemson's had a couple of tough games here against really good competition, and I don't trust DJ Ukulele. I don't trust him on the deep balls. Will Shipley didn't look good last week to me against Boston College, a team that I feel like he should have gotten some more yardage against. It doesn't matter that I don't like the guy or that I don't like Clemson. That's just what I saw from the outside looking in. I got Mississippi State going on the road at Kentucky. Kentucky a 3.5-point favorite or underdog at home against Mississippi State. Logic would tell you to take Mike Leach and that air raid offense against Kentucky, but I think they bounce back in a big way from the loss to the Gamecocks. So Will Levis will be playing today, and I think this is where everybody talks about Mark Stoops, how great of a job he's done of coaching at Kentucky. I think you see that come out today. I think you see that come out. I think not only do they cover the spread, I think that they beat Mississippi State at home outright and get a little bit of respectability back. Stanford on the road at Notre Dame. Notre Dame, 16.5-point home favorite. Seems like they're playing a little bit better lately. Stanford is actually 1-4 right now. But if you look at them, they've covered a couple of numbers here. And I think that going on the road against Notre Dame is a decent spot for them. It's a rivalry-type game, all right, smart kids versus smart kids. And I just don't trust Notre Dame enough to lay 16.5 points with them, even at home, at nighttime. So going ahead and give me Stanford and David Shaw to cover the spread here. Nebraska going on the road to Purdue. Purdue is a 14-point home favorite. That's too much. I'm telling you that is too much of an overreaction to their win over Minnesota. Purdue, a decent team, not a great team. They do this every year. They'll lose to someone they're not supposed to lose to. They'll beat somebody that they should. They're an Auburn, like they're the Auburn of the Big Ten, or like Auburn used to be. Auburn just sucks out loud right now. Memphis going on the road to ECU. ECU is a 6-point home favorite. I'm going to take Memphis to cover here. ECU's actually been kind of disappointing this year to me. I like ECU, but there's another team I like. I like them, but they've kind of been a little disappointing after what we saw last year. We thought they might take a step forward. It seems like they, in fact, have regressed a little bit. North Carolina going on the road, taking on Duke. Duke, 7-point home underdog. Rivalry game. I can't lay points with anybody who lost to Georgia Tech. I just can't do it. I think that Duke's 4-2 record is a little bit of a farce. I think they're a little fraudulent. North Carolina, I think, is not. And I think they'll actually blow Duke out. Give me North Carolina to cover. USC on the road at Utah. Utah, 3.5-point favorite. I'm going with them in this game just because law of averages tells me I don't think that USC finishes the season undefeated. And this is a very, very tough environment. I think Utah is very much in wounded animal back against the wall mode in this one. I think that, their coach, what's that? Kyle Whittingham, I almost forgot his name. He's a good coach too. Another good coach too. Another one in the Mark Stoops mold, who makes the most of the talent that he's got there. I think they cover this game, and I think they get a big home win. This is a primetime game on Fox. They don't have a lot of these, it doesn't seem like, at Utah. I don't see them on primetime a lot on Saturday night. I think it's a big situation, big things going on at Rice-Eccles Stadium out there in Salt Lake City. I think they get this win over USC and Lincoln Riley. A lot of people want to see that too, don't they? Washington State on the road at the Beeve. The Beeve is a 3-point favorite at home in it's Reser Stadium. That's another team I like. The Beeve. Give me the Beeve all day long to cover there, just because. And Fresno State, 7.5-point underdog at home to San Jose State. Their quarterback Jake Haener is out. When's the last time Fresno State was 1-4? They were having an awful season. I would take San Jose State to cover there. Then you got Nevada, Hawaii, Air Force, UNLV. I'm not going to offer picks on those because I don't know enough about either one to give you anything good. And those are degenerate specials anyway, where people just kind of throw darts back with a blindfold on. So those are Carolina Jackpots picks against the spread. I hope that everyone has a great Saturday of watching some college football. I know that I am. Make sure you're here today at 3:30 p.m. sharp. You don't want to miss it. Go Big Orange, baby. Woo!